This is AEDT 2150U, Digital Technologies and Advanced Teaching Methods. And this is the first of the 3 video capsules that we will be using to discuss assessment and evaluation and advanced teaching methods. Assessments and evaluations often worry students and cause complaints to teachers. Yet, whenever we talk about learning, performing, and teaching, both assessment and evaluation are mandatory components of the teaching process. Students work hard throughout their courses with an ultimate goal in mind: pass evaluation successfully. Good teachers employ every possible strategy to ensure that their students reach this goal. If assessment and evaluation are so important, why is the topic so dreadful? And are the students the only ones to be stressed about evaluations? Throughout this module, we will try to shed light on these two important concepts, that is, assessment and evaluation, in order to answer these questions and related issues. While watching this first video, let us reflect on the following questions. What is the difference between assessment and evaluation? Why are assessment and evaluation essential parts of any learning or improvement process? Who, what, why, and when do we assess and evaluate? While assessment and evaluation are usually used together, they have two different definitions. Let us start with these definitions. On one hand, assessment is an ongoing process aimed at understanding and improving student learning. It involves making teachers' expectations explicit and public, setting appropriate criteria and high standards for learning quality, systematically gathering, analyzing, and interpreting evidence to determine how well performance matches those expectations and standards, and using the resulting information to document, explain, and improve performance. Assessment is also referred to as formative evaluation or formative assessment. On the other hand, evaluation is a value judgment about the results of data collected on student learning. Evaluation of student learning requires that the teacher compares data collected on student performance to a predefined outcome expectation in order to determine what the student has learned and how well. In other words, assessment measures the ongoing work of students to improve the quality of their future performances, while evaluation is the end result that measures whether students have reached their learning goals and makes judgment by determining the quality of the present performance based on a set standard. Good teachers use the assessment results to plan upcoming classes and fill any gap preventing their students from reaching the learning goals. Students use assessment in their self-regulated learning. In the best of cases, based on the result they receive upon completing the assessment, students can reflect on their performance and work on areas of improvement. In the traditional education system, evaluation was quantitative, and its purpose was to pose a judgment on empirical facts. That is, the right answer gets a mark. Needless to say, under these conditions, learners feel stressed when they are submitted to evaluation because they feel as though they had no chance of retaking if they misunderstood something. In the recent decades, a plethora of studies related to the best suited evaluation practices for advanced teaching methods have emerged. These studies all point to the direction that evaluation must be planned well in advance, transparent, the criteria must be clear, strive for improvement, and be reliable and valid. That means measure the what it pretends to measure on a repeated basis. With the new reform trends in the education system, learners' work is measured based on competencies or the ability to use knowledge, acquired and potential, and skills to solve problems. From this standpoint, evaluation is not sufficient. Teachers and designers must include assessment methods in courses in order to provide feedback to learners and give them sufficient time to improve their work to demonstrate their highest level of competency. Very often, the assessment instrument is the same as the evaluation instrument. As an example, we will discuss the use of the rubric in our course. The assessment becomes a dialogue between the teacher and the learner, and the evaluation is given at the end of the course or upon the completion of the assignments. Many teachers who have assessed or formatively evaluated their students find that it is challenging and time-consuming. When creating assessments and evaluations policies, many education institutions in Canada try to follow the principles for fair student assessment practices for education in Canada, which include but is not restricted to the following points. Assessment methods should be developed or chosen so that inferences drawn about the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behaviors possessed by each student are valid and not open to misinterpretation. Assessment methods should be clearly related to the goals and objectives of instruction and be compatible with the instructional approaches used. More than one assessment method should be used to ensure comprehensive and consistent indications of student performance. Assessment methods should be suited to the backgrounds and prior experiences of students. Content and language that would generally be viewed as sensitive, sexist, or offensive should be avoided. Now that we understand the difference between assessment and evaluation and the connection between them, let us explore the next issue, that is, who, what, why, and when do we assess and evaluate. So far, we have explained that assessment and evaluation are instruments that education designers and teachers use to encourage and to measure student success. Actually, we assess and evaluate individuals, such as students, trainees, employees, performers, to measure their pre-existing knowledge, their acquired knowledge, their comprehension, the application of what they have learned, their analysis of materials and concepts they are provided with or exposed to, their synthesis of elements of knowledge, and their ability to create a new meaning or structure from them. We also assess and evaluate individuals' motor skills, cognitive skills, competencies, performance, and more. However, the topic of assessment and evaluation doesn't stop here. We can also assess and evaluate courses, practices, educational programs, and systems. We also assess and evaluate education technologies such as software, applications, websites, blogs, forums, and any other offline or online tool that could be used for teaching learning purposes. We can assess and evaluate course content, design, and methods of delivery. It helps improve the quality and measure effectiveness of the courses for future offerings. This will be covered in more details in the second video capsule. We can also assess and evaluate educational technologies such as software, an application, website, and other offline and online tools to determine their usefulness to attain specific learning objectives. To do so, not only the content provided is assessed and evaluated, but also the learning strategies adopted and the technology's usability. Usability studies are useful to assess and evaluate the user interface, the navigation, the interaction, and the need to purchase versus the cost. Educational programs and systems are also assessed and evaluated for improvement and to demonstrate their value and maximize their results. For example, we could evaluate an educational reform to see if students have better math results. In the next video capsule, we will focus on exploring how to assess and evaluate student learning and how to assess and evaluate education programs and education technologies that can assist learners in reaching their goals. The synthesis questions. When we discuss teaching and learning, what should we assess, and when should we evaluate? Why do you think that it is so difficult to assess and so stressful to be evaluated? What can we do to simplify the life of designers and teachers who will create assessment and evaluation instruments and to reduce the stress and improve the performance of learners? Thank you.